right? Not yet. Damn. You're. What? Yeah. What? My. I fixed. Who? It's not. Oh. That's smart. We own. I don't know. Keep out. Do whatever. Go. Okay. Got a minute? We need to talk. I'm also young, obviously. This will never not be weird. Anyway, make yourself at home. Cheers. Everything okay? Oh, of course. All right. Okay.
I built that dormitory you asked for.
Hallelujah.
I hope you sleep well tonight.
I'll sleep like a full-fledged member of an advanced civilization.
Sweet dreams, then. Hi there. You doing all right?
I don't know. All right, I guess, but I'm still trying to find sense in this plot twist.
You're dealing with it really well. Great job.
Long time since I heard those two words put together. But yeah, focusing on the work helps me keep my demons at bay.
Just don't push yourself. You don't need to prove anything.
Really? That's hard when everybody takes you for a useless loser.
You're not a loser. You were just unlucky.
Oh yeah? What about your other body doubles? Were they unlucky too?
Well,
what difference does it make if I don't even know who I am anymore?
relax. You're still the same dude, but you have both arms now. You're healed.
Doesn't feel that simple.
Don't worry about it too much.
No. I'll try.
I had a tool to drill through them.
is not good. We are surrounded. Damn it. So much for Plan B. Hey man, we're running out of storage space. This? It's triggering the alert in my suit. I need to learn more about this thing.
went beyond the rocks. It doesn't look good. The lava river is vast as hell. I'll be straight with you. There's no way around it.
Holy shit. What now?
I guess we need to get across somehow. Any ideas up your smart-ass sleeve?
So now I'm smart, huh? Well, actually, I do have an idea. We could build a research lab and see if we can come up with anything useful there.
Okay, let's give it a go.
this now?
Jan Dolsky. Finally. I've been impatient to meet you.
Yeah, sure. You that big fish Lucas was mumbling about?
Terrence Maxwell. But yes, I am both his and your superior at mining operations. First of all, my heartfelt condolences. Losing the whole crew must have been hard on you.
Yeah. I still can't get over it.
Their families have been informed. They're grief-stricken, as you can imagine. But the deaths of their loved ones will go down in history as part of a pioneering discovery. Your discovery.
So, do people know I found Rupidium?
We're keeping the news within a very limited circle. It's only wise for the time being.
Limited circle, huh? Bullshit. The public has a right to know about such things.
I like your passion, Jan. You're an honest man. But you're under enough pressure already. We don't need the media to go berserk or the stock market to overreact. We don't need chaos down here while all our efforts should concentrate on supporting you up there. Your task is difficult enough, and failure is not an option.
That's why you had me create my altars? You'd rather let me lose my mind than lose the Rupidium?
It was a long shot, I admit. But we were saving both. Rupidium and you, Jan. Do you think it was a mistake?
I have mixed feelings. Sure, it's better to be alive, but I feel like a line's been crossed.
You certainly have a chance to experience something extraordinary. Many people would envy you.
Let's just get one thing straight, Maxwell. I know you expect things of me, but I'm no hero.
Heroism. Are you familiar with the works of Albert Camus?
Albert who?
A great writer and philosopher. Camus believed heroism was easy, accessible. For him, it was living a normal man's life that was a true challenge. Being decent. Doing the right thing. You are the first person to prove that we can actually excavate Rupidium in quantities that can really make a difference. A dream the biggest corporations have been chasing for over a decade now, constantly failing. You say you're not a hero? Well, maybe I don't need you to be one. Maybe you should just carry on being a decent man, Jan Dolsky.
Well, that doesn't sound so bad. Thanks.
Of course, I would lie to you if I said your work is done. You've probably noticed how different Rupidium looks in reality than on the training materials they showed you.
Why is that?
It changes form constantly. Its chemical structure is so volatile that it is almost impossible to capture two particles in the same state. A fleeting substance. Spectacular. But also very unstable.
How come it works then?
Not enough tests were run to explain that. The only sample ever found in space was researched inside a mobile base like your own, but it never made it back to Earth. It lasted long enough to demonstrate its amazing qualities, only to disintegrate somewhere between the Copernicus and the Hyades cluster.
So, you're afraid the rupidium I found might not withstand the journey?
I know it won't. That's why we came up with a special container for it. An Ark.
You mean like a box?
A hermetic module dedicated specifically to storing and transporting rupidium. We have blueprints for it. Lucas should send the necessary data over to you by the time we finish talking. Constructing a rupidium Ark should be your primary focus now.
Sounds like a big task. I should get to it straight away.
It is a big task, Jan, but it's worth every effort. I hope you realize the gravity of the moment.
I thought you said you didn't want to put pressure on me.
You're right. Lucas said you had questions. Is there anything you'd like to ask me?
The branching procedure. There's a story there. Tell me.
It is something that has been tested long ago within Ally Corp, but for completely different reasons and, as you can imagine, in a much more rudimentary fashion.
Altering mind records? For whom?
I'm sorry, Jan. It's highly classified and I already told you too much. I think you deserve answers, but regarding this matter, like I said, things were tested just for a while. Not much came of it. Now, I'd love to keep on chatting, but I really will need to be ending this call soon. Do you have any more questions?
What will happen to my alters when we get back?
I don't know. Yet. I don't need to tell you this is unprecedented. There are no good practices here, but I know one thing. You can trust me and Lucas completely. But if anyone else contacts you, it's absolutely vital you don't tell them anything about the existence of the alters.
What? Why?
You know very well why, Jan. The law has been violated.
I thought Lucas said the branching was authorized.
You haven't been listening. There are no procedures for this sort of situation. There is no one who can officially authorize such an act. At the end of the day, it was your decision to branch yourself. It will be in your best interest to keep that in mind when considering the consequences.
I don't like the sound of this.
We will come back to it later, I'm sure. Right now, I'll have to leave you shortly. Is there anything else?
Do you know what happened to my crew?
Lucas showed me the records. I have a theory, but it's more of a hunch. I don't have any hard proof to support it.
What is it?
Well, I think it might have been the quantum processing unit that killed them.
What? But that's... No, that's crazy.
Do you read detective stories, Jan? The culprit always needs to have two things. A motive and a means. Well, it certainly had a means to do it.
But why?
Like I said, It's just a hunch. I'm afraid I won't have much more time for now, Jan. Do you have any other questions?
No. I'm good.
Rapidium Arc, Jan. That's what you should focus on right now. Your secret is safe with me and Lucas. Once you come back with a remedy for Earth's ailments, nobody will think of punishing you for how you got it. Remember, just do the right thing. Now, I really have to go, but it was a pleasure talking to you, and we will talk more, I promise. Until then.
Hey, how are you feeling? Well, I'll be damned. You okay? Surprisingly okay. Especially considering what I'm seeing. Very clearly. Good. Do you, remember your name? Of course. But... I think you know perfectly well who I am. So let's not waste time. Just tell me, how much did you find? What? How much Rapidium is there? Did we get a breakthrough? Yeah, you bet. There's a lot of it. Good. That's good. Wait, how do you know? Well, isn't it obvious? I wake up seeing someone who looks and sounds like me, which has to mean we share the same DNA. Then there's the glasses. What about them? They're fake. Probably just manufactured to make me feel more like myself, but completely unnecessary otherwise, because here I am with perfectly good eyesight in the womb module, which could only lead to one conclusion: that my body was created to replicate someone who doesn't wear glasses. You. And to do that, of course, you would need to have found Rapidium. Besides, I can see no other explanation for a sheep inside a space base. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wow, you're right. That's impressive. I did create you out of my DNA. We're not identical, of course. I can see you're not as quick to process information, and that's the interesting part. Yeah, our bodies are the same, but our minds are not. I needed a scientist on board, but there's always a scientist on board. So, what went wrong? The old crew is gone. They're all dead. That's why I needed to alter myself into different versions. With the use of the quantum computer on board and something called mind records. Oh, I see. A recalculated mind based on an infinite amount of variables to contain the desired consciousness in a biological vessel. That actually sounds plausible. So, what do you need from me now? Why don't you rest a little? Get accustomed to the new reality? Which part of what I just said makes you think I'm not ready to start immediately? Well, in that case, your situation must be critical considering the lengths you went to. Something tells me there's no time to lose. You're right. Why don't you start with going through the mission logs? I need to get the full picture first. My thoughts exactly. Good. This might work. I found something peculiar on the planet. What exactly was peculiar? Everything. It was like a local distortion of reality. And it seemed to be emitting strong radiation. Yes. We could have expected to come across something like that sooner or later, according to reports from previous missions. Unidentified sources of radiation, unexplained electromagnetic field anomalies, distortions of matter, space, or even gravity. What are they? According to a bold theory fleshed out by Professor Frankov, they may be instances of the so-called interral. The what? Interral. In very simple terms, it's a non-coincidental superposition of potential universes. We don't know exactly why it occurs, but observations prove that under certain, not yet specified conditions, two or more parallel landscapes can coexist within a common quantum field, creating a so-called proximity plane. Whatever it is, doesn't sound like something I'd want to walk into again. Yes, it's fascinating, but it can be dangerous. If, and I stress if, Professor Frankov's intuition is right, then the distortion you have encountered could have been the spot where the proximity plane intersects with our observed universe, subverting its physical balance and distorting the rules of Newtonian mechanics. We need to learn more about these peculiarities. Inform me at once if you come across another one. So, how are you? Settling in all right? Settling in is overrated. I analyze reality from wherever I am, however uncomfortable the angle. There's always an observation to be made. I'd love to hear what you managed to observe. This place is not run optimally. Yeah, I know. I wasn't trained to command a mission. But now that you're here, with your experience, I'd love to pick your brain. Do you think you could mentor me? Good thinking. First of all, you need to set long-term goals and draw up a roadmap for each of them. Remember to include all unpredictable variables in the equation. That way you can have contingency plans at the ready for each instance. All right, slow down. Prioritize resources. Do not waste time on idle conversations with the crew. Hide the booze. Don't be cheap on coffee. That's slow enough for you? Hey, you've just crossed out every team-building exercise on my list. The people are there for the mission, not the other way round. Truth is, I really wish we could make use of the tech I worked on for all these imaginary years. It would make things so much easier if it existed. So what exactly was your research about? Nanotech in space exploration. We went from a humble startup to making headlines in a few months. Taking our solutions to the front line was my dream come true. The data we could bring back. You had big plans for it. Well, now it's all gone. Turning it over in your head won't get you anywhere. You should focus on the work you need to do here and now. I never thought I'd say it, but yes, you're right. Let's get Rapidium back to Earth, and maybe later, we'll see.
Evacuation functionality. Here's the ship's
Man, I'm telling you, we need it.
And I'm telling you this is the least important of our priorities. You've got to be kidding me.
We need to talk. All done. Should I take care of this now?
Evacuation functioning.
Want me to go there, Chief?
Come see me. I'd like to draw your attention to something.
So, did you find a solution to our problem? Yes, it's super simple. We'll build a bridge. Oh, just like that? Well, it can't be a regular bridge, of course. We don't have the time nor the manpower to accomplish that. However, there is a certain technology that came to my mind, superconductive bridge anchors. They could allow us to quickly span a light but durable construction across our obstacle. That doesn't sound super simple to me. Don't you worry your pretty head about it. Remember, you have me on board. There is one small thing, though. Oh, here we go. Cut out the sarcasm. It's not my fault this excursion was prepared by a dilettante. Blueprints for the anchors should be standard equipage for every mission since Project Versant went live, but not on this one. They should fire the logistician, if there ever was one.
Versant?
Versatile Synthetics program. One of my undergraduate students went to work for them, had some impressive achievements, including designing bridge anchors for heavy exploration equipment. You'd think it would be obvious, but no.
Tell me about it. It's so typical of Ally Corp to send people on a mission and then leave them stranded without proper equipment.
I hope you're not feeling sorry for yourself, because we need to act. You are in touch with mining operations, right?
Yeah, I am. Why?
Next time you talk to someone from mining ops, tell them to send over the anchor blueprints from Versant. Once we have them, things will go back to super simple. You'll see.
All right, will do.
I'm done here. Should I do this now?
Evacuation functionality. Has been designed to direct you and your crew to the most probable sites available resources. Your mission and the safety of your crew.
God, I noticed we're missing a few rad filters. Not getting any connection from mining ops. Any idea how I can ask them for those blueprints?
Didn't they push you to mine rubidium? Report getting the job done, and someone will turn up. Trust me, I know how this company works.
Okay, thanks.